guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Recently, I just this past week did a video on Shoe on Head here, who she's a self-proclaimed leftist woman. She does talk about different issues, and she gets a heck of a lot of views. She's got a lot of followers. She's very popular here on YouTube, which, again, I think is fine. Recently, she did a video about talking about men's issues, and she says, hey, I've talked about men's issues a lot. And I went back and looked at some of her older videos, and she's poked fun at, the feminization of men, which I think is fine. And she talks about, the various girls on the internet using guys for money. And she's kind of a little bit all over the place, like I am. And some of them include men and women issues and social and political. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So I do respect her for doing something where she says, hey, you know what? The guys are not okay. We do need to talk about it. And she did that video, and she got 2.4 million views just a week ago. So it really resonated with a lot of people. And as I've said before, I don't have any hate because even though, who wouldn't love getting 2.4 million views on a video? I don't think I've had that many views in about 3 years. But we do need women to talk about this. And she talked about it, and now she's getting the backlash. And she takes it, with a grain of salt, and she has a laugh about it. And she talks about specifically two types of people that are giving her backlash. Number one is the left and people that are leftists giving her a hard time. And she's got some video clips here I'm going to play here in just a minute. This is from her channel. And then the other group she talks about that she's getting kind of hated on from is the men's side of things. Men that watch my channel and other channels like it. And I think it's normal for guys to kind of lash out and say, to push back on all of a sudden, quote unquote, all of a sudden, this becoming mainstream, because it's something we've talked about and a lot of times we feel like doesn't get any attention. And then when females or women, I guess would be females, women, leftists, anybody else outside of our kind of group starts talking about it, the instant feeling is, are they doing this because it's popular now and it's getting a lot of views? Because maybe it's getting them a lot of money because we've got the pearly things and we've got other women that every once in a while wander in. And I think that's natural. I think men have become so jaded and angry over the way we've been treated that when someone else brings up the issue, we naturally our first reaction is to say, well, they don't really care because, who cares about men? And it's almost becoming a point where we get the kind of the victim mindset and mentality of woe is us, nobody likes us, and we kind of like that, and we get used to it. So when then people come out and are supportive and say, hey, you know what, they do have problems, and they get a lot of attention, I think our natural reaction is to kind of snap back and say, they're not doing it to be legitimate. They're doing it for the wrong reasons. And here's what I say to that. And then she's got a segment where she actually called me out and used one of my video clips as if I was calling her out. But what I was calling out is this issue where no one talks about it, and men have been talking about this for a decade plus, and now all of a sudden when it gets so much attention, our reaction is, hey, should we question this a little bit? So I'm going to play this clip by her, and we're going to jump through it a little bit just to show some of the backlash that she's getting. And then I'm going to play the segment she played about me, and then I'll kind of wrap things up. This won't be super long. I'll keep this on the shorter side because my other one today is very, very long. But she discovers what we men get when we talk about our issues. She's now discovering what it's like. And I think this is good. Women need to see what we men get when we want to just talk about some of the issues we're having.
And there's a lot of truth to what she's saying there and in the whole video, which is worth watching. That video has 1.5 million views in just the last week.
Thanks, Matt Walsh. You're my greatest ally. My male loneliness video was the fastest growing video on my channel to date, and there is a reason for that. It resonated with a lot of people. I got hundreds and hundreds of comments every single day by men venting in my comments section, feeling like for once they were being heard and that they were in a place where they could talk. It was simultaneously the most heartwarming and heartbreaking thing I've ever seen.
This is important, and this is good, but it's also bad. The men's issue thing is an echo chamber. And I'm glad these guys, maybe they found her channel instead of mine or instead of another guy's content channel. I'm okay with that, again, because they're saying, hey, you know what? I resonate with this. I'm glad someone's talking about it. I'm glad a woman's talking about it. I'm glad someone who identifies as being kind of a leftist identifies with this. I'm glad it's happening. The problem is, though, I don't think it's going to move the needle because it's an echo chamber. It's men just saying, yeah, we know this, and we already know this. And thank you for pointing it out, but no one else is noticing it. And that's the big problem, is that it's not... A lot of the society out there is saying, hey, whatever, dude, like, we don't care. And she has more of that she gets into. So again, while I think it's great she's doing this, is it really moving the needle? And I think the answer is no, unfortunately. I think the people that we want to hear us and we want this to resonate with are like, whatever, dude, you're a guy, we don't care, we're not listening to you. And she has a clip that she plays of that here in a moment.
And this discussion blew up so much that it eventually reached TikTok.
So apparently...
Okay, so here's some of the clips she's going to pull from TikTok. And the people that we're hearing from in this clip, the TikTok women on here, these are the women that eventually we want to reach. We want them to listen and say, look, what you're doing is not working for men. It's not building better men. It's not making better relationships. Listen to the hate that she gets, and because it's what we encounter all the time. And now she's kind of like, oh, okay, now I see what this is about.
This discussion blew up so much that it eventually reached TikTok.
So apparently there's a male loneliness epidemic right now.
Is this the consequences of your own actions?
Men get recognized for the useless things that they are in society. And what do men do?
Oh my god, I'm lonely.
Is there a male loneliness epidemic right now, or are more and more women just progressively realizing that there's a lot better things to do in life than be stuck with a toxic, insecure man?
I don't think we're in the middle of a male loneliness epidemic. We're in the middle of a mass female awakening.
You're just reaping the consequences of your terrible upbringing, your own actions.
Some men are lonely because y'all are fucking creeps.
Y'all deserve to be lonely. Every single one of them. This is their fault. Fuck them.
Men's loneliness epidemic that's going on. That sounds like it really sucked. Just wondering if they've considered smiling more.
Wow, that's a really funny joke. I've never heard that before.
Have the men just tried smiling a little bit more?
You know, I'd recommend smiling more.
Have they tried smiling more?
Have you thought about smiling more?
Maybe they should smile more.
Maybe they should try to smile more.
Have they tried smiling more?
Now, here's the thing. These are tropes. These are things that are put in movies. Yes, maybe a couple of men out there have said it. You're really pretty. Maybe you should smile a little bit more. I don't think I've ever said that to a woman in my life. And I bet 99.9% of you men have never said that to a woman in your life. But because it makes it into the movies, it was in, Captain Marvel. That was it, where a guy on a motorcycle says, you're real pretty, you should smile more. And then she takes his hand, crushes it, and I think she steals his motorcycle or something or other. It's become a trope. Men don't walk around like this. But see, these are the dangers that we talk about when we say, you know what, movies put us down and make us look stupid and misogynistic, and commercials do it, and what else? TV shows and articles after article after article written negatively about men. It's making its way to women. It's making its way into the zeitgeist. And so now these women's reactions like, oh, poor men, but you've had the patriarchy and you're awful and you're worthless anyway, so who cares? Well, here's the problem. Shoe on Head is doing this stuff, and it's not reaching these women. These women are the people that it needs to reach to make a change. These women are actually the problems. Because when you see women acting like this, if you're like me, your reaction is, I'm not like this. This makes me angry. This is insulting. And now I want to avoid women even more. Even more. I don't want my money to go towards women. I don't want them to go towards women's programs. I want to support men and men only. Screw women. And that's what's happening, is that women are feeling like that about men and men are feeling like that about women. Are there men that, hate on women as much as these women hate on men? I'm sure of it. I'm sure that's out there as well. How do we fix this then? If you have somebody like Shu, again, a left-leaning or leftist woman, putting out these videos talking about this info, and she's getting the hate for supporting men, and we men are getting the hate for supporting men, how do we ever cross the bridge? How do we ever cover the divide between men and women in this country and say, hey, you know something? Let's get on common ground. Because now, in the other video that I did tonight, the wage gap, if you take and equalize hours, and there was a train or a bus company that was kind of unionized, and you got raises, and everything was based on time and grade and everything else. Everything was very, very even. And they still found out the men made more money than the women. And they said, how is this possible? Because men took the night shifts. Men took the weekend shifts. Men came in and worked on holidays or volunteered their time. Men would do the overtime. Men were willing to put in more effort, work worse times, and take the crappier shifts to make that more money. So even when everything is evened out, men still make more because they're willing to sacrifice more than women were. So we've covered the wage gap. We've covered so many of these issues. Now that women have 1.6 million more degrees, higher education degrees than men. Women are getting hired into jobs. They're actually preferential. There are jobs listings that say women only or minority only or whatever. If you're a white man, you're out. All this stuff is happening. And we can point to article after article after article. And we can say, hey, we're bottom of the barrel right now. And what we're saying is, look, we don't want this. We're fine with being equal in a level playing field. But now because of the indiscretions of the past and all the bad things the patriarchy did 70 years ago or 50 years ago or 200 years ago or whatever, you have to pay today for what went wrong. And men are saying, you know what, I'm not CEO of a company. I don't get to, mistreat a cute secretary. That's not me. I'm a friggin' carpenter that works alone or with 3 other dudes on a job site. I'm not the bad guy here. Can we at least point the finger in the right direction? And what are these women saying? No, it's you because you're male or you're white or whatever. So when Shuanhead points this out and she gets 2.4 million views, it was 1.5 at the time within a week, but now it's been 2 weeks, and she gets 2.4 million views, I'm happy for her. And I'm happy a lot of guys are saying, hey, you know what? I don't feel like I'm alone out there. And maybe they found her channel instead of mine or whatever else. That's awesome. But again, how is this changing anything? It's not. It's not. And that's the problem. That's not Shu's fault. That's not my fault. That's really none of the guys that watch this stuff fault. It's the exact women we're watching on this video right now. It's their fault because they say, you know what? Now I'm going to call you names, Shuanhead, and drag you in with us or against us because you're supporting men. How dare you? Men don't need any help. So does this move the needle any with women now talking about the issue? No, unfortunately not.
That's awful. Have they tried smiling?
Is this why people think women aren't funny?
Yes.
Bleak. Now, TikTok isn't the only place where this insanity happened. The thumbnail of my video went viral on Twitter, which led to some of the most funniest and unhinged reactions. So we are going to go through some of these and talk about them, as well as some of the angry comments I got from the manosphere.
No, and here's why, and I'm going to explain. You guys, I think, know this. And you guys know I don't do reaction videos. I'm not going to blast Shu. I'm not going to go out there in a tirade. I have nothing against her at all. The reason why women are going to get pushback from the manosphere is because I think a lot of us men know the people we want to hear this, like the women that are being insulting in those TikToks, the feminists, the people writing the movies, the people writing the commercials, the people putting together the content that is very hateful on men. Those are the people we want to hear it, but we know they aren't. So when we see a woman come into this space and get more views or kind of blow up and go viral, a lot of us guys, myself included, say, why do the women get attention when they're talking about men's issues, but men don't? And I think part of it is because we're very surprised. We're shocked to actually find women willing to talk about men's issues. And Shu did. And so I think a lot of guys are saying, hey, chameleon, grifter, she's in it for the money, she's in it for the views. Because the only people that are watching this is men. And we're naturally very hesitant and very leery of women coming into this space talking about our problems because our automatic reaction is there's something going on. Women don't really support us. There's something going on. And I think there's some reasoning behind that. I think that too sometimes. Maybe it's unwarranted, maybe it's unjustified, but when you have the world pointing all its barrels at you saying that you're the bad guy, and all of a sudden you have women coming out saying, no, actually they're not. And then you look at the comment and it's only men, you say, we're not making any progress. So why are you talking about it? And I think that's very natural.
Let's jump into it. Male loneliness is not real and not valid. Men are lonely because they are terrible people. Why the should anyone have empathy for men? Men were born bad. Men are subhuman, and their loneliness can't be cured because they can't relate to actual human beings.
Now, this is interesting. This is where, everything has pointed, and the media talks so bad about men for so long now, that the next generation of men and women are coming up saying, you know what, men are trash. The women are saying it because they believe that, and the men say it because either A, they want to come across as a female ally or feminist ally, hopefully to get in their good graces so they can actually date, so they can be accepted by women, or they actually feel this, that they've been told this by 95 or 98% of all teachers are now women. They're growing up, 50% of men or young men are growing up in a single mother home. So what do you have? Single moms saying men are trash, your teachers saying men are trash, college university saying that they're trash and they need to get educated on toxicity and how to be a good man. And they're coming out saying, we're awful. We're awful. And then when you hear other guys feeling bad, you might feel bad, but instead of saying, yes, we are going through struggles, these are weak men that say, I relate to what the women are saying. I'm a female ally. Yes, men are bad. Because a couple of those comments were from men. And so these men, instead of sticking up for themselves and fighting for themselves and being strong, what do? They kowtow and say, I believe the women. I just, please like me. Please accept me. And when those women don't accept them, that's the dangerous guy. That's the poisonous guy. That's the toxic guy because he lashes out. He's angry. Where men that kind of say, okay, I understand the game. I see what society's doing to us. I know where we're going with this. They can build a better mindset and a better mind frame so that when they see all this stuff, it doesn't affect them. They just say, oh, yeah, I get it. Okay, whatever. I'm going to keep plowing through life. I'm going to face the adversity. I'm going to work my way through it. But the men that kind of simp along and glam onto these feminists as I'm an ally, those guys are the ones that are poisonous and they go completely crazy.
Most men are born useless and are meant to die alone. Nah, male suicide rate needs to be higher, actually. These men are 100% the most misogynistic demons on the planet and deserve every bit of loneliness they feel, lol. You don't understand the pleasure it gives me to see these men crying and depressed. Imagine losing in the world that is literally built for you.
Now I'm going to pause it here, and I'll jump forward to the segment where she talks about me, and then we'll close this up. Remember, these are the same women that say, why when they're dating men or they're interacting with men, they say, well, it's toxic. Men don't share their emotions; they bottle it up. This stoicism. They don't want to talk about their problems. It's they need to share. They need to be more feminine, in touch with their feelings and express themselves. And all these women, what they're proving to you is that if you express yourself, if you show a moment of weakness, if you show that you're struggling with something, they will wield it like a crowbar and beat you into the dirt with it. Oh, you're weak and having a hard time? Wham, wham, and they just beat you down. That's what these women are showing you. So when people come around and say, why are you stoic? Why don't you talk much? Why do you always have to be, strong? And why don't you be in touch with your emotions more? This is why. Because men shouldn't naturally be emotional. Men shouldn't be skitchy and nervous and crying and emotional. Men should be strong, reserved, stoic, be logical, not emotional. Because if you're emotional, this is how it's used against you by men, by women, by society, by everything else. And she goes through it. This is a good video. I think it's worth a watch if you would like to check it out. And she talks a little bit about the manosphere and everything else. And then she brings up a clip of mine. Let me back here. I want to play through this just because I want to respond to it. Again, not it doesn't make me angry. I think it's a misunderstanding, though, and I think at least I want to clarify it with you guys.
To imply that I shouldn't speak or be listened to about a subject because I'm not the correct gender. Anyone can talk about anything they want. That's free speech, bit. You don't have to listen. You can make your own video talking about the subject, Mr. Man, but they're just gonna call you sexist and misogynist, so you might as well just use me as a human shield. It's not that she's a woman or cares. She's the kind of person who will only talk about an issue because it's popular. Women...
Now, she jumped over that last part here. I want to read that. This is what somebody posted. It's not that she's a woman or cares. She's the kind of person who only talks about an issue because it's popular. You won't get any solutions from watching her. Well, the same could be said about me or anybody else. But this is what I'm talking about. When women are so poisonous and so awful and so negative towards men for so long, when a woman comes out and says something, and she edits the heck out of these videos. She makes them interesting. She really works hard on her videos and her content. I have no hate on her for that. Do I think she actually cares? Yeah, she probably does. But also you have to look and say, hey, when somebody does content and it becomes very popular, is she doing it because it becomes popular and she gets a lot of clicks and views and she gets Matt Walsh and, gets interviewed by other people? Or is she doing it because she cares, or both? And I think because of everything we've gone through, a lot of us guys have doubts on this stuff. And is she really making a difference? That's the question. And the fact that she got hate from the people we actually want to hear what we have to say, and she gets support from only guys that kind of know this stuff, I'd say maybe she's making a difference to make those guys feel better and realize that they're not alone in this. But is she actually making progress with the other women that we need to hear this stuff and make a difference? That's where I think the answer is no. Furthermore, I'll let her play her part and then I'll respond to it.
Person who will only talk about an issue because it's popular. Women suddenly want to help men, but only because it benefits them and their causes.
Now, this is where I want to pause this. I don't know if she watched the video or not. I think she did because she took a snippet out of my video. But what I said is, when she was talking in her video that she played, that I was responding to in this, she played a video clip of a newscaster. It was Anna Kasparian, I think, on Turks. And she said, and Anna Kasparian said, we need to, talk to these men and we need to reach out to them because it's only people like Tucker Carlson and Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, those toxic men, are the only ones that reach out to these men. We need to do it too. So when I said women are suddenly only want to help men because it benefits them and their causes, I wasn't talking about Shu. Now, did I use her thumbnail? Yeah, because I took the segment out of it. Did I use Pearly Things? Yes, because I talk about her as well. But what I was referencing in that headline was Anna Kasparian, not Shu on head. And then Shu pulls it, I think maybe I didn't make myself clear. I'm not going to say she pulled it out of context to be mean to me. But she pulls it out, she mistakes thinking I'm talking about her, that she shouldn't be talking about this. But in that video, I literally said, I think it's great that Pearly Things and Shu on head and these other women are bringing up the issues. But why are they bringing up the issues? Is it for a good cause? And I think, yes, probably part of it is a good cause. Is it popular right now? Yep, it is. I can't say that might be something to do with it, but maybe it does. Anyway, I'll let her finish here. Well, now not only are conservative women talking about it, but also the left. This is the problem with the women that decide to come forward and speak about men's issues. They don't care about men's issues. You must ask the question. Now that they're coming around and talking about men's issues, is it to help men or to win men into their cause?
So first,
and so what I was talking about there is Anna Kasparian literally talking about the left needs to reach out to men, not just Tucker Carlson and Andrew Tate and all that, because they're right, or maybe they're not right, but they're the poisonous ones. And so I wasn't necessarily talking about Shu. I'm talking mostly about Anna Kasparian, but a point of it still needs to come around. It's great that women are talking about this. Women need to be the ones that talk about this. But if Shoe on Head and Just Pearly Things and everybody else, they're doing this content and they realize that the women that need to be reached and the women that need to hear this stuff are not listening, it's only the men that agree with them. Is there a point where you're just saying, you know something, I'm going to keep doing this content because it's popular, or I'm going to keep doing this content because I'm helping the men that feel lonely and ostracized? Because at a certain point, even she has to admit, I'm not reaching the women. It's not doing any good for the women. And how do we know this? From all the TikToks and the negative posts. She does, let's see, this starts at 2 minutes and it goes all the way to 20 minutes. She goes 18 minutes on the backlash that she got on this stuff. Well, those are the people that we need to reach. She's not reaching them. Pearly Things isn't reaching them. Andrew Tate isn't. Tucker Carlson isn't. I'm not. Jordan Peterson's not. Kevin Samuels didn't. You know, Coach Greg Adams, all of them. No one's listening to us. We're just supporting our side of things, but no one will reach across the aisle. We've said we don't want women speaking down to us. Women are making more money or as much money as men, but they still want men that make more, and they want all the sixes. Okay, but that's not going to work. That's not working for 95% of men. You can't keep calling us toxic and poisoning and laughing at us. And we keep saying, look, there's maybe you might find a couple videos. I'm poking fun at these women. I'm talking about the craziness, but not once have I said these women are awful and need to have this, or they need to be punished, or they need to. I just say, hey, you're going to find out when you get older that you're going to be unhappy, and we need to change things. And if Shu here reached out to me and said, you know what, let's really have an interview. I mean, she's a much bigger channel. She'd probably ignore me. But if she reached out to me or I reached out to her and I said, let's do an interview. Let's talk about this stuff. Let's find, how do we bridge this and reach somebody? I think that'd be a great interview. You guys would enjoy it. Her fans might enjoy it. How many people on the other side that are leaving these brash comments, and how many people that are writing movies and scripts and writing these interviews and these articles online about trashing men, how many of them are going to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we've gone too far. Maybe we need to have a discussion about it. What percentage? 0.0. Everything we do it's not bridging the gap. And they're certainly not reaching out. As a matter of fact, they're doing everything that they can do to burn the bridge between the two sides, calling us all these names and everything else. They're certainly not working on anything. So how do we fix it? And if the answer is it looks like we can't fix it, then that's when you kind of start saying, like, you know, when content creators see they're doing very well in these videos, is it really to kind of keep pushing the issue because no one over there is listening? Or is it because, hey, I got a lot of views on this stuff? I'm not saying that's what she did, but again, when you've just been trashed by everybody for years, men start to get a little, I think she might be a chameleon. Maybe she's just pretending to care, because women don't naturally care about, especially left-leaning women, you know, and I think that's natural. I don't think that's necessarily what she's doing, but instead of telling you what she's doing, I just always pose. And matter of fact, you heard it in her clip. The thing we have to ask ourselves is Are they doing it for views because it's popular, or do they really want to make a difference? That's all I posed. I didn't tell you they're doing it only for views. I didn't tell you anything. I posed the question. And because I posed the question, now you can't always necessarily pose a question just right in your video title or your thumbnail or all that. But because I asked that question, she takes that as an attack. No, it's not an attack. I'm just asking you, what is your opinion? And if your opinion is, I think they're grifting, okay, that's your opinion. If your opinion is, no, I'm kind of glad that these women are broaching the subject and maybe eventually it'll make a change. Great, that's your opinion. My opinion is a little bit of everything, honestly. I think it helps. I think it's helping men, I think, which is the most important. Is it bridging the divide? No. Is it probably good because it gets a lot of views and so it becomes more popular? Yeah. But that can also be a good thing, because that means more content creators will come on board and more people will see this. And they say, hey, this is a hot topic. I'm going to talk about it. But instead of trashing the guys, I'm going to be supportive. And maybe if enough of this happens, maybe we start doing a course correction. Maybe we can make a change in the world. Maybe then somebody will start listening. Will it be too late? Who knows? So I thought I would cover this stuff for you guys. I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's a good debate. It's fun and something new to talk about. But you notice that even if a woman says, I'm a leftist and I'm a woman, and you know what? I do think men are struggling a little bit. They get pulled in as a target. They get hated on. They get shamed. They get called out. She got called a pick-me by a bunch of people. So you know what this means? All I can say is this. Hey, shoe on head, welcome to the fight. Welcome to the battle. You're going to get the heat. Are you going to hang in there with it and keep going? We'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see. Guys, thank you very much. If you've watched all the way through, I appreciate it. You can join me on betterbachelor.locals.com. That's where I do movie streams and stream some games, and we do a bunch of content. Real great group of community guys over there. Right now I'm running a summer sale. I got the information pinned down below in the top comment. Hope you join us today. Great community of guys, like-minded men, where we discuss all these issues and more on kind of a daily basis. But you get to hear other people's input from the other members of the forum. So hope you join today, and we'll see you in the next one.